Crimson Trace's laser saddle is a feature-packed laser sighting solution for Mossberg 500, 590, and 590 Shockwave 12-gauge shotguns. Available as a red or green laser. Buy it now at crimsontrace.com.
Welcome to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, where there's more to talk about than shooting. There's reloading and hunting and self-defense, too.
All right, welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham. If you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial Tom Talk Gun. It is that easy. There are, in the conversation, and you know that I've been doing this for 50 years, talking about guns and gun control and gun rights, there are seminal events that spark and reignite the discussion. One of those is the murders of the people at the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in February of 2018. The gun control movement, the gun ban movement, latched onto that, made it their cause, held it up high as, see, we have to do something. But what was interesting is that out of the noise, out of the clickbait, out of the marches, we now have a fascinating book, Why Meadow Died, and written by the father of one of the students killed, murdered there, Andrew Pollack and Max Eden. And before we bring in Andrew, I want to read this from Bill Bennett, former U.S. Secretary of Education. Why Meadow Died is the untold, almost unbelievable story of how the moral corruption wrought by politically correct policies and willful blindness made the most avoidable school shooting in history somehow inevitable. We're joined now by Andrew Pollack, the co-author of the book, and also, of course, father of Meadow, Why Meadow Died. Andrew, thank you for being here. Let me ask you a quick question here before we get started. Obviously, all of this sparked a call for gun control, for gun bans. You did not go in that direction. Can I just ask you right off the bat why?
Oh, I just wanted to really find out the facts first before I came to a conclusion. If it would have been the gun, I'd be here talking to you about guns. You know, I always had guns growing up, but I wanted to know the facts, so I didn't listen to anybody. And I wanted to know how I could put my daughter in that school and what happened and why she got murdered in the school. And I just came up, and this is the facts that happened. If I was on here, if it was the NRA or guns, I'd be talking to you about that. I doubt you'd have me on, but
no, I actually probably would.
Yeah, but if that's what the facts are what the facts are. I wanted to know the truth, and I'm okay. The way they labeled me, just because I wanted the facts and I didn't go down the gun control bandwagon, I was labeled conservative Republican because I didn't jump on. I didn't make up a false narrative. I just wanted kids safe. I wanted schools safe, and I wanted policies removed that endangered our students and kids, and that made me a conservative Republican. And I'm okay.
You're okay with that?
Okay. With that label, I'm fine with it.
All right. So the title of the book is Why Meadow Died. When somebody asks you, okay, so why did Meadow die? Well, is there a bottom line that you can go to? I mean, you got all this information, all this history, and everything that happened there, but in the end, what do you tell people?
It's a couple of different policies that are mostly put into these schools across the country. It's not just in Broward. One policy was when Obama was the president. They wanted to end the school to prison pipeline and end suspensions and expulsions from kids that were at risk youth. And the person that actually started it was from Chicago, tied to the Department of Education Secretary Arnie Duncan. And he came from Chicago to Broward, where they made this a model for all schools throughout the country, where they just stopped. They wanted to reduce their numbers, change the statistics, and really ruin the whole public school system by not holding kids accountable, less suspensions, less expulsions, making it very difficult to arrest someone for committing crimes. Like, for instance, at my daughter's school district, a child would be allowed 4 misdemeanors per school year with ever getting introduced to law enforcement.
Wow.
And then it would reset, if you could believe it, every year. So in 9th grade, you want to assault a kid, you want to steal someone's iPhone, you want to deal drugs and assault a teacher. That would be like 4 misdemeanors. You would go into a program, they'd have some healing circles. And then in 10th grade, you start over at 0 and you're allowed to do another 4. And these policies, what it does is it creates a culture of leniency throughout the whole school district.
But it also,
not reporting.
But for the administrators, it ends up with great stats of, look, we don't have any problem kids. We don't have any crime here. We haven't referred anybody. And it looks great. Look, we brought our numbers down. And, frankly,
Exactly.
we've seen that before.
It makes these bureaucrats, these horrible, unethical bureaucrats, feel good. Look at this. We reduced, like the superintendent Runcie, when he came to Broward, he said he reduced school crime by 70%. It was like a miracle. In like a year and a half, he reduced it by 70%. They just stopped reporting it. And what it actually does is it does the opposite. They want to end the school to prison pipeline. What it does, if you can look at it in a common sense way, like I did, it creates it, because these kids that are acting out and disruptive don't learn any consequence. Okay?
They don't get any help.
Some of them should. Some of them should be introduced to law enforcement where they could learn right from wrong. So They take all that out. So they hurt all the disruptive kids or kids that are acting out because they don't show them accountability. The teachers have to deal with it. And then 98% of the students that want to go there and learn and be with their friends, they're subjected to be in this type of environment. And just for people, if they want to really look at it, and they're not believing me what I'm saying, they could actually Google right now the state of California. Gavin Newsom just signed into law that it's illegal to suspend or expel a disruptive student. And that's a law in California. And it started in Broward. And through a lot of the Democratic platform now is to reintroduce these policies and enforce it in school districts across the country.
Andrew, is it true that this monster who murdered these children, including your daughter Meadow, was known as the crazy kid? Even the administrators called him that.
Crazy boy. Crazy boy. Crazy boy. He recognized so they hire these monitors out here that are like useless, right? And out in Broward. They don't hire the right guardians that the state wants them. In the state of Florida, we have the Aaron Feist Guardian Program where you could go and learn how to be trained and carry in a school. But here in Broward, where my daughter was murdered, they can't figure that out. So they have monitors. So the monitor that day recognized Crazy Boy get out of the car and lets him walk through the gate and doesn't stop him with a rifle bag. You know what I mean? I got to live with it. I sent my daughter to a school like this. Watched him go into the school with a rifle bag. Then he radios to another monitor, right, in the school. He's like 50 feet from him when he doesn't even have the rifle out. This monitor, whose name is David Taylor, he's 50 years old. He doesn't approach him. He goes up the second floor where he hides in a closet, okay? Why he's in the closet, if you can believe this, I only found this part of the story last week because in my civil case, we deposed this David Taylor. He goes in a closet where he hides in the closet. He's locked in. He hears the gunshots. Why he's in the closet, he hears from the office, because now, anyone that's listening, they know when you shoot, smoke comes out, exhaust, sets the fire alarms off, right? So in the office, they don't know it's gunshots. But the guy in the closet, he knows it's gunshots. He hears the office go over the loudspeaker for everyone to exit the building. It's not a drill. And my daughter's on the third floor. This scumbag in the closet doesn't get on his radio and warn him that there's a shooter in the hallway. He lets all those kids go out into the hallway without getting on his radio to warn all these kids. And then my daughter gets murdered on the third floor while this 50-year-old man is hiding in the closet with a radio and a cell phone he could have called, and he never did anything. So my thing for all the parents and everyone listening, don't make the mistake like I did and just send your kid to a school and you think that they're going to be safe. Because a lot of these schools are run by the same type of bureaucrats that ran Broward County. And for you to know what happened in Broward, it's important to see the failures and to read my book, Why Meadow Died. Because, it's parents' responsibility where they put their kids.
Yes. And let me just say, if you get this book, if you read this book, and the full title is Why Meadow Died, the People and Policies That Created the Parkland Shooter and Endanger America's Students, you're going to go through this. You're going to be shocked. You're going to be frightened. You're going to be mad. You're going to be mad as hell. But at the end of it, you're going to say, I am going to find out what's going on at my children's school. And
exactly.
that's the thing. And Andrew,
that's what I want. That's what I want. I want parents to use it as a manual. Because
yes.
I'm like destroyed. You know what I mean? My little baby girl was murdered. Even listening to you when you say Meadow, it just kills me. My heart is broken. And I put her in that school, and no parent, there's options, okay? I don't care if you got to move to a different school district. Nothing is worse than your kid not coming home. Or you put them in an environment with these kids that are so disruptive, and the teachers, their hands are tied. They can't do anything. And then another policy that they do on these public schools is they'll label a kid, he could be emotionally disturbed, like very, very mentally ill, and they'll label him special needs. And then that gives him like untouchable rights within the district. So we're not talking a kid that has autism or dyslexia, who's not disruptive, who we want to help. We're talking about violent kids.
An aggressive, violent kid who hurts people. Andrew, I got to scoot. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I'm so sorry that you had to write the book, but I thank you for writing it. I can't imagine what that is like. Cannot. But thank you, because people need to read this. They need to take action on this. All I can do is say thank you. I really appreciate it. Andrew Pollack, the book is Why Meadow Died, The People and Policies That Created the Parkland Shooter and Endanger America's Students. Available everywhere. 866-TALK-GUN.
It's back. The Smith & Wesson 10mm revolver. Yes, the Model 610 is back in 4 and 6.5-inch barrels. 6-shot moon clips full of powerful 10mm rounds. Plus, you can shoot 40 S&W ammo in it too. Stainless steel, black synthetic finger groove grips, interchangeable front sight with an adjustable rear sight. Take it to 10 with the Model 610 revolver. Visit smith-wesson.com.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. When someone says we don't need that kind of gun, remind them the Founding Fathers determined what rights our Constitution should protect. There's a world of difference between rights and needs. It is not the function of government to tell us what we need or what we don't. Certainly no one needs an assault rifle or a Saturday Night Special, or for that matter, no one needs a Corvette with a high-capacity horsepower engine capable of speeds to 150 miles per hour. But in the hands of honest, responsible individuals, we have the right of choice. We have the right to read books others don't like. We have the right to listen to any radio program we choose. We have the right to dress the way we want to. We also have the right to own firearms of our choice. So the next time someone tells you you don't need something, tell them it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. Join the Second Amendment Foundation today so that this message and our Bill of Rights might live. Call 425-454-7012. That's 425-454-7012.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
This is Jeff with Black Hills Ammunition. Shooters looking for ultimate performance in 300 blackout will be pleased with our new 110 grain tip TSX load. This round performs well through tough barriers such as car doors and windshields, making it a great choice for police patrol rifles. It also provides superior performance on whitetails and monster hogs. This round is a great all-around terminal performer. Black Hills Ammunition, the power of performance.
Hey, I'm curious. When you set up your deer rifle, or basically your rifle for hunting, deer, elk, moose, antelope, whatever, do you set it up so you just hold on out to a certain distance and beyond that it's too far? Do you set it up, as some people do now, and they have the dial-ups, the adjustments on the scope, and you use a rangefinder, or laser rangefinder, and then you dial in the elevation so that you can shoot at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 yards. What's your method? And I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just curious because the thing that's changed, and there's a lot of talk about long-range shooting and scopes and rifles and everything else, but that's not really what's changed. What's changed is our ability to know the range exactly. Because for many, many years, it was kind of like, yeah, that's 200 yards, that's 300 yards, that's 400 yards. You're just eyeballing it. You're guessing it. And people are just not very good at that. And why is that important? Well, it's important because bullets fall. Gravity is real. It's constant. So as soon as you shoot a bullet, gravity is working on it, and it's falling. It's changing its path. And that's okay, as long as you know exactly how far away the target is, or the deer is, then you know where to hold. You know how much the bullet's going to drop. We have all these ballistic tables. They're all available online. They're available on apps on your phone. It's 425 yards. The bullet's going to drop 16 inches. You know how much to dial up, or you know how much, where to hold. And so the reason we wanted flat shooting cartridges way back is because the flatter it was, the less it dropped over a particular distance. Because the amount of that a bullet drops is a factor of time, really. And the faster it can go, the further it can go in a particular segment of time. So if you misjudge the distance by 50 or 75 yards, if you have a really flat shooting rifle, a 270 was one of the ones that we used to say this is really flat shooting, it would kind of cover up for errors in range estimation. But now you have a $120, $150 laser rangefinder in a little pouch on your belt. You pull it out, you look through it, you zap it, and it says 277, exactly 277 yards. Or it says 390, and you go, okay, at 390, I know exactly where to hold. It has changed pretty much everything. I mean, there was a time when people would get old, like World War II military surplus rangefinders, these big tubes that were 5 feet across and mounted on a tripod, and they would use that to get the correct distance, particularly for varmint shooting. But there were actually some people who were shooting elk way back then doing that kind of deal. Now we can do it with this little device that's in your pocket, and actually have laser rangefinders built into binoculars. I'm shopping right now. In typical fashion, I mean, I would like to have a pair of binoculars that has a really good laser rangefinder built in. Because then, of course, you're looking at glassing for deer and elk and everything through your binoculars. And if you see one, you could just hit the button, boom, okay, it's that far, that's too far, or I need to get closer, or whatever it happens to be. That would be nice. The problem I'm running into is, in typical fashion, the really good ones cost a lot of money. So that's my current project. I'm researching it, so I'll take the hit. I'll do the research, and as soon as I kind of get that sorted out, we may have that conversation at some point. We'll be able to do that one. Let's see here. Frank, don't go anywhere. I don't have quite enough time to get you in before the break, and it wouldn't be fair, so we're going to get to you as soon as we come back, okay? But we'll let you know. All right. So anyway, I'm shooting this 257 Weatherby. out of a Ruger number 1 has a 28-inch barrel. We're getting 4,000 feet per second out of the 80-grain bullet. Now, one thing you have to know is when you shoot a bullet that fast, it better be a tough bullet, because if it hits something like 200 yards, generally, the typical bullet construction of just, cup and core, just a copper jacket lead bullet, it's just going to blow up. It's going so fast. But you use these solid copper, it's actually expanding, but it's copper bullets. Or you use a bonded bullet, a good premium bullet, and it'll hold together. 4,000 feet per second, sighting 3 inches high, I can actually hold on out to about 425. So what that means for me is, look, it is not easy to hit something at 400 yards. That's a long way. I know people say, oh, yeah, well, I hit steel. Yeah, I know, I get that. Steel's not moving, and you get a perfect rest on your either going prone or off a bench. For me, and man, as I say, man's got those limitations, right? My limitations are 400's a long way. So all I have to do, this is my thinking now, all I have to do with my laser rangefinder is zap it. And if it is inside of 425, I just hold on. Yeah, it's going to be 4 inches high, something like that, 4 to 5 inches high, mid-trajectory. And honestly, if it's 200 yards, I'll probably hold about a third of the way up from the belly, allow that drift up to happen, and then hold dead on out to 425. One thing I can tell you, and this is Gresham's law, okay? Put this in the bank. It'll save you. Do not hold over. Always aim at hair. Here's the rule. Because generally speaking, whenever we think, oh, that's a long way, I'm going to hold just over his back. In my experience, what I've always done is I've shot just over his back and missed. So Gresham's rule, first shot on game, always aim at hair. Fair enough? All right, so how do you set up your rifle? Are you got it set up to dial it up? Or you just have it set up to get the maximum point-blank range? And what caliber are you using for your high-velocity, long-range hunting rig? 866-TALK-GUN.
I heard the click, click, click of her stiletto heels coming down the hall. And I caught her perfume before she opened the door to my office. And she stood there looking like $1,000,000 tax-free. I want to talk to you, she said. Come back later, I said. I'm listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk right now.
Reading more about this, 2 pairs of archery hunters were attacked by a grizzly bear, or bears, in Montana. The attacks occurred within 11 hours and 1 mile from each other. So it could be the same bear. They're not sure. They used pistol and bear spray to ward off the attacks. Interesting. Just awareness. Be prepared. It happens. One of those, hey, can't happen, won't happen. Really? You willing to bet your life on that? Willing to bet the lives of your family members? Okay. Let's talk to Frank. He's on line 1 out of Arnett, Oklahoma. Frank, what just happened in Oklahoma?
Well, they was trying to get a petition to get get on the ballot to vote about against the and stop the constitutional carry that passed in the legislation. Okay. And they said that they didn't get enough signatures, but supposedly the Secretary of State is still counting. But the Oklahoma Second Amendment Foundation has filed a suit, and it's in the Oklahoma Supreme Court, that they mischaracterized the law and that all of the signatures are invalid.
So we have an ongoing battle here. So let me back up. The legislature passed constitutional carry. In other words, you could carry without a permit in Oklahoma. Then some folks said, well, we don't like that. Well, we would like to put that on the ballot in front of everybody. They started getting their signatures together. Supposedly they have fallen short, but the Secretary of State is still taking a look at it, and yet there's a lawsuit challenging the whole deal. Right. Okay. But so far, so good.
And our governor has complimented the legislators on all the hard work and the people that worked with them to get it passed in the first place.
Well, good for Oklahoma. I'm liking that. So let's hope that you can push this back. We'll hope that maybe the lawsuit would just kick it out altogether. We'll see what happens. But I will stay on top of that. But, Frank, I appreciate you bringing that up and letting us know what's going on out there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that call. Jess is on, too, out of Washington State. Jess, what's on your mind? What's going on up in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, I wanted to remind your listeners who either have forgotten or are unaware that here in Washington State, just last year, Bloomberg and his ilk conned the voters into voting for a referendum that effectively redefined every auto-loading rifle in existence as an assault weapon. And I don't mean just ones with detachable box magazines. I mean even a 4-shot hunting rifle like the Ruger Model 44 auto-loading carbine.
Well, I've been saying that for years. They want to redefine all semi-autos as assault weapons so they can get rid of all semi-autos. So what question? I think I know, because I know how the Bloomberg Group operates. I'm guessing they ran some really nice, slick TV ads all over the state.
Oh, yeah, they did a lot of that stuff, and there was a lot of trick and deceptive wording in the in the petitions that they had out that should have nullified them, but unfortunately our liberal state courts here let them get away with it.
So what does that mean for gun owners in Washington State now?
Okay, so now effectively what that does is, for starters, to purchase an auto-loading rifle, you have to be 21 instead of 18.
Okay, so they've stripped constitutional rights from 18 to 20-year-olds just right off the bat.
That is correct.
Okay.
In addition, they have instituted a waiting period and an enhanced background check, and I'm not even quite sure what the hell that means.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition to that, apparently you also, within the past 2 years, had to have taken some sort of a firearm safety course.
Well, of course, the catch to that, because there are going to be some people who say, well, I don't have a problem with that. And that's great until they say, well, we're going to change that. We don't think that the firearm safety courses are quite comprehensive enough. We really think you should have to take a 40-hour course. So it's going to take 5 full days, and you go, well, that's just ridiculous. Well, but that's what it is, because now you have to take the required course. So administratively, they could come in and change that regulation. That's the kind of thing that they do. Jess, I got to scoot here. I appreciate the update, what's going on out there. That's what we've been talking about. That's how it happens. Bloomberg comes blowing in there. They buy up all the availability of advertising spots. They make really slick, expensive commercials that are misleading, frankly. And the public goes, oh, yeah, it's a gun safety thing. How could you be against that? And then the Bloomberg folks go and meet with the editorial boards of all the newspapers and all the major media outlets and get them on board. And it's a fait accompli. It's a done deal. This is the power of the Bloomberg billions. And I said 10 years ago that his full-throated entry into the gun control world was the biggest thing that has happened, and has certainly proved to be the case. Frankly, it's a battle of dollars. And the only way we beat that, because we don't have the dollars, is we beat it with numbers. We are 100 million strong. But it doesn't matter if we don't speak up and we don't show up. And the whole deal of, well, I have a job and those people don't. Yes, they do. They have jobs, they have to get daycare, and they still show up at the legislatures. And until we do, we continue to lose. Now, where we show up, we're winning. I'll have some more about that when I come back on how we get people to show up. There are some people doing it, and it is clever, and it's easy. We'll be right back.
When the U.S. military's elite units and law enforcement agencies across the globe demanded innovation and reliability, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. When world champion professional shooters demanded precision accuracy, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. So it's no surprise more and more civilian gun owners are refusing to settle for anything less. They're choosing Sig Sauer firearms, ammunition, electro-optics, suppressors, air guns, and training. Sig Sauer. Never settle.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
But they'll never take our freedom!
Hi, this is Ryan Gresham with Gun Talk. Have you ever heard about a gun giveaway but thought, I live in a state where I just can't win that stuff? California! Well, visit guntalk.com/win to enter the Legal Everywhere giveaway presented by Timney Triggers. One grand prize winner receives more than $7,300 in prizes, including 2 handguns, triggers, holster packages, tactical gear, optics, and more. The best part? Residents of all 50 states can enter. Prizes from Axion Optics, Colt, Crossbreed Holsters, DeSantis, Proper, Timney Triggers, and Walther. Enter now through November 1st at guntalk.com/win. That's guntalk.com/win.
Brownells.com is your home for all things firearms. Looking for a retro rifle? How about the BRN 180 or 180S? Named one of SHOT Show's best products of 2019. Visit Brownells.com for guns, ammo, reloading equipment, or anything you need to customize your firearm. And enjoy the industry's only guaranteed forever satisfaction policy. To stay up to date with the latest and best deals from Brownells, text BRN to 556-223.
All right, I said I was going to tell you about a couple of guys who are doing some really interesting stuff and getting people to show up. I mean, we have to get people to show up at these events, right? We have to get people to show up at the town hall meetings. We have to get people to show up, particularly at the legislatures. So this is the Mike and Mike show. No, not the sports one. We got Mike here in Louisiana and Mike over there in Texas. We're actually going to get the guy from Texas. You'll figure out who I'm talking about, maybe. We'll get him on the show. They have organizations, they have groups, they have local groups of gun owners. And and I have seen this work in the Louisiana legislature. For years, the Moms Demand group would show up, and there'd be like a dozen of them with their red shirts on that sit up front. And they look like there's a lot of them because there's a dozen of them, and they're all wearing their red shirts. Well, Mike, our local guy, he said, well, I can beat that. And so his group, he sends out a note. He says, here's the deal. He says, I'm going to give away guns. He said, I don't know what he had, a half a dozen or a dozen guns that he had donated. He said, and you enter a raffle. When you show up, your name goes in the pot. And however many of you there are, that's how many names go in the pot. If it's 50, then there's 50 people trying for 10 guns. And I think he put something on the order of 60 to 80 people in a committee meeting, which have probably never had more than 12 of us gun guys there in the past. And he had them wearing the same color shirt. And they got there early and they sat up front so that the cameras, that's all they saw was the pro-gun people. Because these people, they wanted a chance to win the guns. I mean, come on. 10 guns out of 80 people's names? That's some pretty darn good odds. So, that just happened over in Texas. They dropped 450 people into a city council meeting because we're going to give away an AR-15. All right, now you have the template. Now you have the plan. Well, where would I get the gun? I don't care. Take it out of your safe. Get somebody to donate it. Find it. Get the word out. Hey, we're going to have XYZ, and we're going to give those away. And everybody who shows up, their name goes in the pot and the hat. And after the event, we're going to draw names right there. Now, I mean, you got to go to the store and you got to do the FBI check, the next check, and all the rest of it. But we're going to give away guns. So if you can't get them to show up because they think it's the thing to do, some will, some won't. But a lot of people will show up with just a little bit of incentive. And when the legislators or the city council members or whomever it is, when they look out there and they see a sea of gun owners, it's a really good idea for all of you to wear the same color shirt, get T-shirts made up that says gun owner or Texas gun rights or whatever your group is. So there's no mistaking who's out there. So they can't say, well, yeah, I never hear. All I hear from is the people who want gun bans or gun control. Can't say that anymore. And I've said for years, look, here's the deal. You may mock politicians, and we do, sometimes for good reason. But one thing they all know how to do, they all know how to count. And when they look out there, they can count the supporters on each side. We show up. We may not have Bloomberg billions to give away, but we have the power to send them home, don't we? We have the power to vote them out of office. We show up. And the other thing is, look, if you're going to be smart about it, if you're going to have people testifying, don't have everybody testify. Only pick the good ones and tell the rest of them, look, you will best serve us by sitting there wearing the shirt. And you pick out, and look, here's just how the game is played. This is the reality of it. You pick out a well-spoken woman. You pick out somebody from the African-American community. You pick out somebody from the LGBTQ community who are speaking in favor of gun rights and gun safety and responsible gun owners. And you show them that the lies that they are saying, that the things that they are saying are in fact lies. You show everybody else that they're lying. All right, Jim, Denham Springs, Indiana, I believe that is, line 3. Jim, you're up. What you got here, KelTec?
Yeah, at PMR 30, Denham Springs, Louisiana.
I figured that was Denham Springs, Louisiana, just outside of Baton Rouge. Yes, sir, I know right where it is.
Yes, indeed.
That would be about exit 10.
Yes, indeed. Well, anyway, I was a good old PMR 30. KelTec is a great little gun. Shoots exactly the point of aim. And shot like 200 rounds through it. Had like maybe 2 failures to eject and 2 failures to fire, to, feed. But
right.
Overall, it shot exactly point of aim and really great. It's a fun little gun.
It really is. And if you ever get a chance, shoot it in the dark and watch that muzzle blast, that flame. It's unbelievable.
I haven't had a chance to do that. But in magazines, it's kind of hard to load. I mean, it takes a little while.
Well, you could probably load 25 or 26 in it. You're good to go. You don't have to put all 30 in there. It's good. Yeah, we shot those in the dark shooting video in an indoor range, and it was weird. It was like this donut, a ring of fire every time we shot it. I mean, at first it was startling, and then it was just cool. I got to do this, and we shoot in slow motion. So yeah, take that out at dusk somewhere and shoot it. And see if yours does the same thing. See if it does that donut of fire. If it does, give me a call back. Give us a range report on that. Really cool, the KelTec PMR 30. 866 Talk Gun. I was thinking about our guest this hour, Andrew Pollack, with his book, Why Meadow Died. Talk about his daughter who was murdered at the Parkland school. Heck of a book. Heck of an endeavor. And he said, look, if I had looked into this and figured out that it was the guns, I would be talking about let's ban guns. He said, but I looked at it honestly, and that's not what it was about at all. He talks about what went wrong and the policies that basically killed his daughter. And they're ongoing. They're happening around you. They're happening in your school. There are policies that companies that don't let you protect yourself when you're in their stores. You, and I'm going to ask you personally, I'm going to implore you, you have to make this a priority. You have to take charge. You have to take ownership of your own safety and the safety of your family. If you have kids in school, you need this book. You need to buy this book. You need to read this book. You need to share this book. Seriously. Also, this comes on the heels of us doing another first-person defender episode, and somebody who I thought was trained up and would really do well did badly both times. Usually they get better the second time. Pulling a gun, then walk around with this gun dangling around, pointing at the ground, yelling at somebody, talking on the phone, with a gun in hand, pointing it at the ground, just kind of letting it dangle. Ended up, in the scenario, having to shoot somebody, and then basically standing 2 feet from the person that she just shot, while he's moving around, while he's getting back up. Knowing, and this is a person who knows how to shoot. Knowing how to shoot actually has nothing to do with your ability to protect yourself. Seriously. Marksmanship is a very small part of the whole thing. And all I can do is ask you, please, to make this an important part of your life. One of the things I'm going to do, you've heard of the Colonel Cooper's color codes. You know, and white is when you're at home, yellow is when you step outside and you're just aware and you're alert. You know, it works its way up to red. If you don't know the color code, shame on you. You need to know those. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go get me a roll of yellow tape. And I'm going to put a piece of yellow tape on the inside of my front door so when I leave my house, I see the yellow tape. And I'm going to put a piece of yellow tape on the dash of my car as a way of reminding me, stay in the yellow, stay alert, stay aware. Don't just drive around in a fog. Oh, yeah, that means you can't be talking on your phone all the time. It's up to you. And you need to take classes, and you need to reorient. And you can watch videos. We have great videos. We have thousands of videos on our YouTube site. Just look for Gun Talk Media. You can get our DVDs off of the shopguntalk.com website. They're cheap. Come on, they're cheap. This is how you're going to take care of yourself. This is how you're going to save your family. But you do it by taking training and being serious about it. Training is not learning how to shoot. Training is how to move, how to get away from things. Training is sitting in your easy chair and saying, I will not be there. Training is saying, oh, gee, this week they're saying that there could be a shooting at the Joker opening of the movie. Don't be there. If you're invited to a gunfight, you might want to just not accept the invitation, okay? So you got to take the challenge. If you'd like to be involved in our after show, if you'd like to talk about this, give me a call right now, 866-TALK-GUN. In the meantime, it's up to you to take care of you. You are your own first responder. Make yourself good. Make yourself better. Make it an important part of your life. It will save your life and maybe the life of somebody you love.